Steve, I guess fine margins, just in that try opportunity just before the break.
Yeah, I think it sums up our Heineken Cup campaign. If I'm honest, it's like you go back to Leinster home. We had opportunities in the first half to build a lead, we didn't take it, and then I know in around tips in the end of the second half, and probably we've got a couple of other opportunities in around the whole game, and then we are, I think, in certain times a little bit sloppy. There's a hell of a lot of good in our game, but then sometimes it does look a little bit ugly, and we're not on the money in certain departments as consistently we need to be.
How do you assess the scrimmage at the moment, Steve?
It's not a real strength of ours at the minute, but it's something that we're working on, and it is just keeping working hard and making sure we iron out our deficiencies at the minute and make sure we keep going forward.
Steve, what do you think of George North?
He's got a pretty decent try, in fairness to him, and it was a time of the game where, we were really trying to push the game, we're trying to put a little bit more tempo into it, and then we're on the front foot, and then he gets one sniff of it, and fair play, he goes the length to score.
What was the story with Adam Jones on the bench, Steve? Because the scrum did seem to sort itself out and pretty much swing in your favour at times once he was on the field.
Yeah, I think we were starting to work it out. Didn't start particularly well, and then we were starting to work a little bit better, and we spoke about it at half time, and there was a couple of changes. So it's look, we win and lose as a group, and it's something that Adam, obviously with his experience coming on, but Jarvy's an international tight there as well, so we've got plenty of experience in around that.
Alun, did you think there were times where you could get back into that game in the second half? You seem to be giving it a good lash at times there.
Yeah, I think we did. I think we attempted to throw pretty much everything we had in the armoury at them, but then when you go the length off a kick-off and score a try, and then we give away a cheap one at ruck time, we're our own worst enemies at times. So it's difficult when you do that, but we probably had a decent momentum shift if we carried it on at times, but like I say, we were our own worst enemies at times.
Has it been a frustrating campaign in general then?
No more frustrating than any others we haven't succeeded in.
How did the uncertainty over your contract and Adam, do you think it affected you at all?
Yeah, it was a tough game, so obviously disappointed with that, but we're out of the competition now, we just got to focus on the Rabo.
How fine have the margins been, do you think, during this season's European competition? Felt you've been competitive all the way, or? Probably
not in the first two games, if we're honest. I think had we won the Cast game away, that would have been a bigger turning point for us. They were down to 30 men the last minute. We have a dubious penalty at the end. We probably felt we could have gone on to win that game, but
Leinster away on Friday. How do you approach that in terms of, do you need extra motivation, or do you just like winning in Dublin anyway?
Well, we've done okay out there this year. A lot's always said how well we've done in the past, but first focus is we're going to probably have a short prep week this week, because obviously we're going Sunday, Friday. There'll be quite a few positives actually from that game. I felt we were in ascendancy, not the ascendancy, had enough possession early on the first half and potentially early on the second, but it's what we do with it as well, isn't it?
Enough. Steve, feel free to tell me not to raise the subject, but how difficult is it for you and your players to even begin to make the best of yourselves in the prevailing political conditions?
Look, it's increasingly difficult, obviously, in around recruitment and trying to retain boys. It's not a great situation, and it doesn't get resolved. It's always being put back and those kind of things. But that's a side issue. It's not an excuse for us. We would like when we done in around the Ospreys and things. It ain't a great situation. It ain't great for any region within Wales, and obviously we're a little bit behind the races in financial constraints and those kind of things anyway. And a lot of this going on is. It's nothing we can really do with, but it's something that, like you say, there's no excuses. And when we go back to the Heineken Cup campaign, and probably after we finish off on Friday, we know this tournament, whereas in the Rabo you can probably make one or two mistakes and still get that win, but in Heineken if we don't take that one opportunity where you can go 8 points up or 10 points up and you don't take that, then it massive shifts in games, and when you're on top of teams you need to punish them, and I didn't think we'd done that against Leinster at home, and then we hang on in out in Castra, and then we get opportunity at the end, like Al said, we didn't take that. And then today I think if you pick up a couple of wins out there, it's a different game today totally. You can kick your goals, you don't have to go chasing tries and that kind of thing, and the endeavour and effort there right across the board, that's what we spoke about in the change rooms now. It's like Al said, there's a lot of good within our game, but then there's little pointers where we just take a foot off the gas a little bit. It's like when we go 22-17, our exits are poor. I think there's poor ball presentation, and then we switch off, they get a foot through, and we cough up a cheap try, because I think we created some decent opportunities and we look half decent when we had the ball at times, but like I say, in these environments and these games, if you switch off for a second, and it's curtains with the game.
Alun, do you think reasonable numbers of the Ospreys have put their cases well for the Wales squad announcement this week? Anyone who'd like to big up in particular?
That's your job, isn't it?
All right.
No, I think there's a few boys that potentially will put their hands up, but you know, you can't really say that after a loss.
And you said after the last game that there were plenty of professionals on the field, but not too many in the boardroom, I think that was your quote. Any sign of any professionalism developing in the boardroom as far as the player's perspective is concerned? Well,
that's why I didn't answer the question about contracts and politics. I think sometimes I'll just deal what's happening between the white lines on there.